Back, you okay? Yeah. Okay, great. Whenever you're ready.
Thanks, John. Afternoon, Paul.
Afternoon.
You've signed two players this week, Tom Carroll and Martin Olsson. Can you just tell us firstly what you think both those players are going to bring to this squad? Tom Carroll firstly.
Well, Tom's a really good footballer. I think he fits very much in with the style that we're looking to develop here at Swansea. He has good experience of playing at a high level with Tottenham. Played a lot of games last year, not so much this year. I think it's come at the right stage of his career himself now to come and play more regular football, and we're very happy that he's here.
And Martin Olsson?
Martin's someone I worked with briefly before at Blackburn, so I knew everything that he was about in terms of what he can offer as a footballer, what his character's like. Again, he has experience of both this level and the level below, and international football as well. And he's a good addition to our squad.
Are they the difference between where you are now and getting out of the relegation zone, or do you still need to bring in more?
I think they're going to improve us, absolutely. And we are still looking at a couple of other areas for additions.
Are you close to bringing anybody in?
Well, now we get into a difficult period now. And I think, no, we're not close, but we have targets, and we're monitoring that very much on a daily basis, because there's a lot of other things that can affect whether you can do those deals or not. And, it's possible that some of those things might run right until the very last days of the window.
People are surprised perhaps you haven't signed a centre-back yet. Is that still a big priority for you?
Well, I don't really want to mention individual positions. There are a couple of things that we will still be looking to try and do, but only if we think they're going to better what we've already got.
And you did mention a couple of players when you first came in. Holger Badstuder at Bayern. He obviously went to Schalke on loan. Are those contacts, your German contacts, still something that you think can yield some success for you?
Well, using all the networks that I've built up over the years in football, whether that be here or in France or in Spain or in Germany, and whether something can come of that, we're not sure. But over your years working in football, you establish lots of relationships with scouts, with agents, with other coaches, with players, and but not only me as well. The other staff that I'm working with. We have a very good recruitment department here, so we're all bringing our expertise to the table, and in order to try and improve the team.
Can I chuck up another couple of names at you that you have been with Aruna Kone at Everton?
No news on that.
Not interested?
I'm not interested. There's lots of good players out there. I do know who that player is, but I'm not going to say whether we're interested or not.
Okay, and the other one perhaps been linked with Swansea for a while is Ojoa at Leicester?
I think a similar situation to the first name you mentioned.
What do you feel, Paul, is the priority for you over the next few games? If you don't bring in new players in the immediate short term, how are you going to stem the flow of goals that have been conceded at this club?
I keep working on the training field. Being more consistent over a 90-minute period. I think the signs in the first 30 minutes against Arsenal were very encouraging, but we couldn't sustain it, and that was what the difference was. Arsenal stepped it up, and we couldn't contain them. But if we can stretch out that period of 30-35 minutes where we did very well over a much longer period, we're going to have a good chance, even against the better teams.
Doesn't get any easier for you. Liverpool away. How do you view that match?
It's similar to Arsenal. It may be even more difficult because we are going away from home. A team that are playing with a lot of confidence, title contenders, play good football, defend with a lot of energy. It's going to be a very difficult game.
Are the new signings likely to figure in that game?
Yes.
All three?
Probably not Narsing, who did come with a slight injury to his calf, nothing major. He is back on the field training, but we're not sure whether Saturday will be a bit soon for him.
Can you give us your thoughts on Jurgen Klopp, particularly a bit of an insight from what the German perspective is from your time at Bayern, with how Klopp has done in his first few months of the league?
Well, I have come across him before when I was at Real Madrid and we played Dortmund in the Champions League quarter-final. We had a really good game against them, winning 3-0 in the first leg and losing 2-0 away at Dortmund in the second game. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's got a lot of charisma, a lot of energy. I think he's been very good for this league, and you know, they're the kind of foreign coaches and managers that you want here, that are really going to add to this great league that we have. I don't know him well personally, but people that I know that have worked with him say, you know, he's excellent with the players and gets every bit of potential out of the players that he works with, and you know, they're a good team to watch. You know, as a neutral, when I was watching them before, they play with very high intensity type football. That's how he got his Dortmund teams playing as well, and I'm looking forward to coming up against him.
Can you see a particular German influence in what he's done at Liverpool?
I think it's a modern approach. I'm not sure it's a German approach. I think it's a modern approach to football. You know, high pressing, possession-based football, a lot of goals, a lot of exciting young players. It's good to see.
And in terms of your own side now, Paul, you've had a little while to get your feet under the desk in terms of training, one game under your belt. Do you still believe that this is a job that can end up successfully completed for you in terms of avoiding relegation?
Like I said before in the conferences that I perform with the media, it's my goals are much more short term than that. I know a lot of the talk is going to be about survival in this league or not, but I'm really trying to improve the team in the short term. You know, that's where all the energy's going. Players are training really well, putting a lot of energy into what we're doing on the pitches. I can already see improvements, and it's about just being more consistent now. And the focus is to try and improve again against Liverpool.
And just finally from me, a question a little further afield. Marco van Basten has come out with these new proposals today as FIFA's technical director, namely perhaps examining getting rid of offsides, introducing sin bins and one or two other proposals. Have you had a chance to look at them, or what was your reaction?
I've only seen them briefly. There are some quite radical proposals in there. My own view is there's some other things that we could do before that, and my own view is a positive change would be greater use of substitutions in the game. You know, we're working with squads of 20 outfield players, maybe more, plus 3-4 goalkeepers, and you get to the game and you can use 11 and 3, and that's it. So you know, I think before you start looking that far down the line, that should definitely be a possibility that you could look at the coach having the use of more substitutes in a game.
What do you think a game with no offside would look like?
Players would have to be very fit, wouldn't they? A lot of spaces. I think I wouldn't see necessarily that being an important change to do.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Paul, would you say six subs being allowed in a game then, or 7? Or?
I think 4 to 5. I think would be good, but that would have to be thought about, because you wouldn't want to get in a situation where you're in the later stages of a game and you know there's 5 substitutes going on just to kill the game off. I think you'd have to split those up. So you know there'd have to be a certain amount you could use at half time, and then after that only a certain amount. You'd have to split it up, I think. But I'd like to see between 4 and 5 being able to be used.
Going back to this day reality, the way you're talking, you feel that even though you're playing on the 31st, you might be sort of busy on the transfer front right up to the very end of the deadline, do you think?
Yeah, it's possible. I might have to send the team out to play and I'll be in an office on the phone. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? No, it's actually, I was thinking about that, you know, that the 31st is we are preparing for a very important game here at home against Southampton that day. And we could be also very much on the phones doing last minute deals.
Is that something that I mean, you haven't had that much experience of that. Are you looking forward to that sort of thing? Is that part of the management that appeals to you?
I can't wait for the window to close, to be honest. And then I know the players that I've got going into the last part of the season.
With the signings at the moment, you say you're looking at short-term improvement. Have you at all got even half an eye on next season? Are you looking at players that can not only do you a job? Because I've seen it said that these are maybe a bit disrespectful to players maybe, but these are signings that can work in the Championship as well. How much of that comes into your thinking?
I would say, 90 to 95%. I'm thinking about the players bringing in now to have an impact now. But it would be naive from my point of view and the club's point of view to not think beyond that, just from a economical point of view.
But that doesn't in any way imply that you don't feel you can still stay up?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Have you worked out how much it'll need to stay up, or do you feel that the tightness in that you're still only a point behind Palace means that it's not as hopeless as maybe a table looks?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look hopeless. One behind the outside the relegation zone, and not far from the teams just above that as well. That can change very quickly. No, I don't have a figure on it. I have said this before that we can look back at historical records, what it takes to stay up. But I'm just looking at a game to game basis really, and trying to do the best we can in each and every game that we have.
How much interest have you had on players on your books? There's talk of Birmingham in for Wayne Routledge.
Wayne's a player that I like, and I don't see him going anywhere. I want him to stay here at the club.
And likewise, Federico Fernandez been linked with West Brom. Did you stop that? Any thought of that? Or?
No thought of doing anything with Fernandez. I like him. I think he's a good player, and he'll be staying with us.
When you look at what happened on Saturday, it's almost typical of what has been happening. That you start well, maybe don't score, the other team get a goal. You can argue about the penalty, but then just the team seems to collapse a little. Have you put your finger on whether there's a mental problem, if you see what I mean?
Well, maybe there is. But after the goal went in and leading up to the end of the first half, I didn't see the team collapse. I thought they kept the composure, and we got into the half in an okay position. At half time, spoke about we're very much in a game, and we'd really limited their opportunities and had a few of our own. So it was quite an even game the first half, and I think Arsene Wenger summed that up nicely after as well. He said that our team was organised and they worked very hard. I think really the second goal was the killer. Not just that it made it 2-0 and now it's very difficult to come back against a team like that, but just the circumstances of the goal as well. Big deflection, and then the third goal, another own goal as well. And under those circumstances, you can be thinking, wow, our luck's really out today.
But you don't see that, because I know that you've looked at previous games, it's happened a lot, hasn't it? When the first goal is conceded, it ends up 3 and 4.
Yeah, I am aware of that, and I've spoken to the players about that as well. And I just said, look, the way you can look at that is when a goal goes in against you, that is the scoreline. It's not the result. And they had a game against Crystal Palace where the game was going from one side to the other side, and it looked like they were going to lose the game. 4-3, 90 minutes is up. 4-4, 5-4. So, a really important 3 points. So they showed in that game that they have the strength of character to go on in very, very difficult circumstances and go on and win, not only draw that game.
And looking at Anfield, it probably couldn't be more daunting, the top scorers in the Premier League.
Yeah, they're a very good side, and we're going to have to defend well, not dissimilar to what we did in the first 30 minutes against Arsenal. We had our chances against Arsenal. If we get those against Liverpool, we need to take them, and we need to be more consistent over a longer period.
you were saying about Arsene Wenger saying about praising the work rate and how organised Swansea were. He also went on to say that he felt that there was enough quality here that Swansea shouldn't end up being relegated. Do you feel grateful that he said that, or do you feel it was just a platitude, you know, one manager being polite to another? Had you had some sort of conversation where, you know, he's had vast experience in the Premier League, that he might have passed something on at the end of the game?
No, I didn't speak to him after the game, and busy with the media and with our players, so, but you know, it was a nice thing to hear. I'd rather hear that than the other way, and he didn't have to say that. I think he was genuine with his comments, and the most important thing though is that I believe that and the players believe that, and we do.
I'd be interested. I mean, I know you're not going to give us chapter and verse, but just take us inside the dressing room when you came in at half time. We were talking to Andy Legg, obviously a former player here, a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying he was the sort of player that needed a bit of a kick up the backside, whereas others need an arm around them. I mean, when you're coming into a situation like that, they're coming in at half time. How do you work it with them? Do you have to speak to them as a collective, or do you go around from, you know, sort of dishing out the treatment that each one responds to best?
No, a mixture really. The information that I gave at half time is not too much dwelling on what happened, really more about what we need to do to move forward and be positive in the game. I'm not one to talk at half time, try and be very specific to the point, give the players a bit of time to just calm down a little bit, because you know they've been in high intensity exercise, and so they normally get first 4 or 5 minutes on their own. Then I'll come in with a few points, and then after that get round some individuals, myself and my staff.
And in terms of their mental attitude, I mean, as you said, you know, there's the confidence needs to be built up again. Are you bringing any sort of psychology into that in terms of building confidence up again, or is it just a case of if we worked hard enough on the training ground, we'll get the win and that will do the job?
Yeah, I think just by I'm a believer in confidence comes through good preparation, and you know that's what we've been working on. We worked hard in our preparation for Arsenal. It didn't come off, and we're working hard in our preparation have been working hard in our preparation for Liverpool. And I get a good sense from the players that you know, they like to know their jobs very clearly, and that's what we've been doing.
What about your job? I know it's very early days, but obviously your first experience of being the top man in a Premier League club. A double-edged sword, can you say you've enjoyed it all so far, or has it been a sort of bit of a bed of nails as well? I mean, how have you found it so far?
Yeah, there's lots of parts of it I've enjoyed. I enjoyed walking onto out of the stadium for the first time. I enjoy very much working with the players every day. I didn't enjoy the second half against Arsenal. I didn't enjoy that. I mean, no coach, no manager likes to be beat, and to be beat like that by that kind of scoreline as well. But I feel positive and confident in the role.
Can I just ask the situation with regard to Fernando Llorente? I mean, do we know what the situation is with him possibly moving to Chelsea at this stage?
No news. Like the last time I was asked, has there been any talks between the clubs? And nothing at all.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, folks, yeah. Thank you very much. If we're getting across the way.